We just got a new animal. Let me give you some context first before we get started. We've been homesteading for about 2 years now, and along that 2 years, very early on, we ended up getting goats. We got goats because we had never done this before. They're smaller animals, and even though a bunch of people told us that goats were a problem animal and they were mischievous, they'd break out, they'd die quick, we still weren't totally prepared to get something like a cow for milk. So we were really excited about the venture of getting goats, milking goats, and providing milk for our family in that way. And we did for 2 years, and it's been great. And we've loved our goats. They've given us our challenges, and I could see why some people have issues with goats, but overall, they've been great. To give you some of the problems that we've had with our goats is that they're very pushy and they're very opportunistic. If a gate is just cracked just a minor, they will break out, and when they do, they will find our freshly planted, perfect young trees, and they will kill them because they go straight to the new growth. Or that kind of stuff has been really annoying with the goats. But other than that, because we have decent fencing, we don't really have that problem. It's just a problem on our issue. They've never broken out of the fencing that we have. We never had a problem with them with babies. We never had a problem with them with parasites. Even though we live in Middle Tennessee and everybody complains about parasites, we've never had it. We've just had a really great experience with goats. But there has been some issues when it comes to their milk. Despite what most people say, goat's milk actually tastes amazing. And most of the time it's indistinguishable from a goat and a cow. If you were in the know, you would probably be able to tell the difference, but if you're just doing a blind test and it's a random person on the street, they would never know from raw, pure, fresh goat's milk and cow's milk. That goaty taste that comes with goat's milk is an enzyme that grows over time. So in my experience, depending on the freshness, the feed, and what they're eating, 3 to 5 days is when you'll start to taste that little bit of goatiness. And I cannot stand it. My family mostly is okay with it, unless it gets too goaty, which is what you're going to taste more so from the store because it's pasteurized and it sits a long time when it comes to transportation. But I've never had a problem if I'm drinking it fresh enough. Goat's milk is what is known to be naturally homogenized, meaning that the cream or the fats don't really want to separate inside of the milk itself. So as you put it in the refrigerator, it'll take a day or two for even a small cream layer on the very top of the jar to start showing up, unlike a cow, which shows up within a few hours. And that's where a lot of my issues rise. We really want butter now in our house, and it's something that we can't get as easily or as readily from a goat. We've made goat butter ourselves, and it tastes really good as long as it doesn't end up building in that goaty taste. But it takes so long to get some of it that you have to leave the jars sitting inside of your refrigerator for longer, which then can lead to them being more goaty. And then also, the cream layer just doesn't come on top. That's a negative and a positive. It's a negative because you don't get your butter as readily and easily, but the milk is so creamy and rich because all the fats are naturally inside of the milk itself. So when it comes to coffee or anything else, it's just a really, really nice texture and an amazing flavor. And there's another thing. I've never been able to make an actual good tasting, well put together yogurt from goat's milk. I know some people do, I know some people have, but I haven't been able to do it. And we love yogurt. And with this surprise entry, you can see that we now have a cow. And we have a cow for a lot of those reasons. We want a lot of yogurt. We want a lot of butter. We want a lot of cheese, which I've made cheese with goat's milk before. I didn't make any hard cheeses. I made Chev a lot. Again, because I'm so particular with the goat cheese, with the goaty flavor, I was always a little bit hesitant to eat a lot of the goat cheeses, even though if they're fresh and they're not heated up too much and they're not too old, there is none of that weird, people describe it as tanginess, but that's for people who are not around goats. If you've ever smelt the way a billy goat smells, that's almost the way that the cheese tastes. and I hate that. It's also the way the milk tastes. I hate it. It's not for me. So I am always hesitant on the cheeses every time I make them, and I want the cheeses that I'm familiar with and I know and that I'm so used to. And just a few weeks ago, while we were actually looking for a cow, I posted a video of why we bought goats in the first place. I still stand by that, and I stand by why it's good to have goats. We have the property to be able to take care of a cow, and we can give it what it needs. Funny enough, while we were searching for a cow, I actually filmed and posted a video of why we liked goats so much and why we chose goats. Although I still stand by that, and I think they're a good choice for people who can't actually have a cow on their property, I did need a cow for us. We stopped buying butter like 6 months ago, and we just really want those products again. And if you do raise goats for yourself, I am going to keep one goat in milk at a time. I still want their milk for my coffee, and we use their milk to make our own soap. It's a very big resource in this house, is that goat milk, and I don't want to lose that. But I do want to be able to make a better goat cheese while they're in milk, and I would like to know if you know how to make goat yogurt well. I can't do it, and I desperately want to try it, and I want to be able to succeed at this, but I need your help. If you do know what you're doing and you do know how to make yogurt, give me some advice in the comments. Well, here are just some of my thoughts for today on the differences between cows and goats for milk and why we made the changes. I hope this helps. In the future, I'm going to make a really dedicated video, very specifically breaking up the goats versus the cows on a homestead. But before we actually make that video, I want to get a calf from this heifer, collect the milk, make the cheese, make the butter, do everything ourselves here, hands-on, see what it's like, see what the differences are between the two animals, temperament and all that, because we haven't had her for that long, about a week, but I can tell you she is marvelous and so easygoing. And I have a few other videos on chickens and bees, so join us as we all learn together and keep homesteading.